Back to our bracket breakdown show. A couple Bryant guys here. They pay him. They educated me. This is Tim O'Shea, head basketball coach at Bryant University. Coach, thanks for joining us again. Let's start with this. You saw that URI game. Tough loss to Oregon. Down to the wire. What were your immediate takeaways afterwards?
Well, it's totally heartbreaking. In fact, whoever lost that game, it was going to be heartbreaking because both teams played so well. It was what you look for in the NCAA tournament. Two teams playing at a very high level, going back and forth. And it really, the kid who made the three-point shot late for Oregon, that was just an amazing shot. And it was a tough way to go out, but they certainly have a lot to be proud of.
Now, Dan Hurley and the Rams didn't have a timeout down the stretch there. Is that something today that they're regretting?
No, I don't think so. I think coaches prepare their teams for those situations with or without a timeout. And, you know, he took a timeout when he needed it. I don't know if you realize, but the NCAA took away one timeout this year. So the game, to speed the game up. So you do run into that situation late game. But no, look, I give Oregon more. It was more about Oregon making a big shot to win the game than anything URI did to lose the game. They played terrific. But, you know, one team's going to come out on top. And unfortunately for URI, it was Oregon.
Great season for both URI and Providence. Unfortunately, both teams blew double-digit leads in the tournament in the second half. That is tough to swallow. As for Providence, you know, they had a tough loss to USC. USC going on a bit of a run, so maybe they were a little bit better than we thought.
Yeah, look, these double-digit leads in the age of the three-point shot, they aren't that big a deal. There's always swings in the game in terms of momentum. And USC, for whatever reason, maybe it was the travel or whatever, was sort of sleepy in the first half. Providence jumped all over them. But in the second half, you saw a very, very talented USC team come out, and you know, they proved it again in the next round when they advanced, and they advanced all the way to the round of 16. So they're extremely talented team. Providence was right there, a play here, a play there. But you're talking about a Providence team that lost two guys to the NBA. So what they were able to accomplish this year by getting back to the tournament and taking USC to the wire was quite an accomplishment and a great season.
Certainly a great job by Ed Cooley and Dan Hurley, just tremendous. As a whole, the tournament, some upsets, as you'd expect. Villanova, 1 seed out. Louisville, a 2 seed out. Duke is out. I know both of our brackets took a hit. Duke and Villanova, which team losing surprised you more?
Probably Duke. I thought they were playing so well at the end of the season. But they had a lot of young players. They depended a lot on freshmen. The Giles kid, who was #1 high school player in the country a year ago, had a knee injury. He never got up to his full potential this year. Tatum, another freshman, was a little bit up and down. So when you go into a tournament and you're really depending on first-year players for a lot of your firepower, that can be a tricky thing. And USC is an excellent team. Probably a little bit underrated all year out of the SEC. South Carolina. Yeah, it was two good teams, and South Carolina was just a little bit better yesterday.
Duke obviously had that impressive run through the ACC tournament in Brooklyn. They won that. They were kind of a trendy pick. I bought in.
Sure.
What are you going to do? I want to ask you about coaching. Grayson Allen, one of Duke's players. You know, his year, eventful. Tripping guys, a lot of people considering a dirty player. Have you ever coached a guy like that, and how would you handle a guy like that?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't tell you who it is because nobody would want to be out there. Look, he's an emotional, plays hard, plays with a lot of passion. I think part of the attention is the function you get when you play at a program like Duke, where everything is under a microscope. Things like a tough elbow or a trip, or guys are a little bit more physical, a little bit borderline in terms of how they play the game. They're usually guys who have a lot of passion. They play really hard. I think Allen's been a terrific player. I know he's a great student. I remember being at the national championship game when he was a freshman. He came off the bench and had a lot to do with them winning. I think sometimes it's just difficult to be in that environment where everything you do is under a microscope. I have a lot of respect for him as a player, and I know Coach K feels the same way. So I think he's gotten a little bit of a bad rap.
One more national question, if you will. Lavar Ball, obviously his son Lonzo, one of the best players in the country, maybe a top pick in the NBA draft. Do you personally have a lot of interaction with the parents of the kids you coach, or is it outside of recruiting, not much?
Yeah, tell you, it's funny. Once they get into college, to be quite honest, most parents see their kids as adults now, and they let them handle their own business as far as their interaction with the head coach and their role in the team. So it's interesting. Over the years, I really haven't heard a lot from parents other than they come to the games to support their kids. They're not as vocal or anything like Mr. Ball is, but even in the arena of very hands-on sort of helicopter parents, he seems to be in a class by himself.
Okay, and final question. We've talked about this before. I've talked about this with writers, with Yanni. Can you explain to me why there is not a basketball beanpot here in the state of Rhode Island? Brown, Bryant, URI, PC. I want to see it. Why isn't there one?
I think it comes down to finances.
Okay.
You know, Providence and URI have a huge investment in their basketball program, and they have a gate and there's revenue, and you'd have to figure out how to keep them happy. I'm sure Brown and Bryant would sign up. It's more a question of URI and PC wanting to do it and then being able to work out the finances.
Okay. Guess I'll have to deal with that.
Yeah, you went to Bryant. You know, you're a business guy.
Yeah, that's right. We'll do that back there. We'll figure that out. Tim O'Shea, Bryant University head basketball coach, joining us here on the Bracket Breakdown Show. Coach, thanks very much.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll be back.